Tamara is the focus of our story, a quiet student who becomes the target of Samantha's bitter jealousy. How could a poor, average-looking girl steal attention while someone as beautiful as Samantha stands there? Driven by jealousy, Samantha decides she will completely destroy Tamara. True to her nature, Samantha pulls everyone around her into the ugly scheme she has created. The result, Tamara wrapped in a sheet, soaked in blood while her so-called friends walk off and leave her out in some deserted, abandoned area. Of course, Samantha figures that's the end of it. And honestly, who could blame her for thinking so? What she does not know is that this is only the beginning of the curse. Tamara won't let it slide. She's coming for them one after another, and she'll make every last one of them pray that time could somehow rewind itself so they'd never do what they did. Because at first, Tamara was the meekest, most beaten-down girl you could picture. And just like we're seeing here, she sits in class while paper rains down on her. Then she does not flinch, does not make a sound. All she wants is to graduate in peace, total quiet peace. Yet even when she gets home and picks up her phone to unwind for a minute, every single comment on her photos is vicious. I mean, come on. If you don't like her, just block her and move on. And it does not stop there. Eerie videos start landing on her phone sent from a number saved under one chilling name, the Eye. Then inside these videos are orders. Either she obeys or she gets exposed. Exposed over what, though? Well, that's something we'll get to. Anyway, as she's sitting there, in the very moment she's being threatened, a message pops up from Zavi and she practically leaps out of her seat. It's a voice note. He's asking to meet so they can talk over the idea of doing their graduation project together. And when we rewind a little, we find that he's the one who asked the teacher for precisely that straight in front of the entire class, which naturally did not sit well with Samantha. She's his girlfriend. How could he possibly pick Tamara? Yet here's what nobody knows. Zavi's intentions are something else entirely. See, he's actually something of a social media celebrity, always going live with these unsettling streams where he smacks himself with a hammer, his buddy P right beside him, playing the loyal right-hand man. And right before he sends Tamara that message about meeting up for the project, we catch him telling P the truth, his real project, to reel Tamara in and take her innocence. And with nothing but pure malice, the two of them laugh. So, while Tamara's floating on air, thinking, eventually, someone actually cares about me, he's off laughing with P, the two of them scheming to hurt her. The following morning, he's posted up with P at school, hoping the bait's been taken and that the girl will come tumbling right into his arms. But she strolls right past him like he does not even exist. And the odd part, this actually delights him. He recalls how he'd insisted she never let anyone see that they'd spoken, how he wanted to save it all as a surprise. So, he's convinced she's simply following his orders. But the reality is, she's frightened to death of him, even though she's entirely smitten. So smitten that even in gym class, while she's watching him, everyone clocks just how interested she is. And first in line, of course, is Samantha, who attempts to drag the poor girl's name through the mud, announcing at the top of her lungs that honestly all they needed now was for this weirdo to start crushing on Zavi, too. Then she tosses a little hint at her friend that she's still Zavi's girlfriend. Thank you very much. And no matter how much he strays, he belongs to her. Oh, please. You're the one cheating on him in the first place. Yeah, truly. Because back in class, somebody had already thrown a jab at Zavi, saying instead of doing a graduation project with Tamara, why not do one about his girlfriend's cheating? Anyway, let's leave the cheater be and get back to Tamara, who starts getting those blunt threats all over again. Things like, are you ready for everyone around you to find out why you left your old school? And at that, she panics, horrified her secret's about to spill. She darts her eyes left and right, but everyone around her is just glued to a phone. So, she bolts. She goes and sits with her friend Daniel and tells him someone's been watching her and she has no clue who. Then, when he reassures her, it's likely just the bullies that she should be used to this by now, she actually feels a little lighter. Then he starts talking up their project, telling her the documentary is going to get made and take first place. And the best part, he says, is that Zavi asked to be paired with her because he's the biggest bully and she's the one who gets picked on the most. So now they'll have both the villain and the victim. Yet when she drifts off a little, not wanting to look like a victim all over again, he simply stands up and heads away to finish the rest of the film, entirely unbothered, as if she hadn't said a word. From a distance, Zavi's standing there watching her, and he fires off a message that reads, "Next time you want to film me, make sure you get my permission first." And she's seized with dread. How did he know? She scrambles to gather her things and hurry off, only to find him moving right behind her, which frightens her even more. But when she turns around, she uncovers he'd actually headed off somewhere else entirely. Then, at the height of his smugness, he's answering Poe at a party they're throwing at his place, telling him, "Oh yeah, me and my new project, smooth as silk. Everything's under control," meaning Tamara, of course. Elsewhere, Samantha's holed up in the heart of his own house, cozied up with some other guy entirely. So he decides, that's it, time to move on. And without any warning, we find him planted right outside Tamara's house, telling her, "Look, if you keep ignoring me like this, you'll find me trailing you everywhere. How about we just do the project together?" And from here, Tamara's utterly genuine nature manages to win out over Zavi's wicked little schemes. Then he actually gets swept up in her. All day long, neither of them puts the phone down. Constant chatting, voice notes, glances traded from afar to afar until he starts feeling it. Like, wow, there's more to life than Samantha and tormenting girls for real. Then, when P attempts to dig into the conversation and ask him how his project's coming along, he shoots back. Nah. The weirdo's tucked under my arm now, just waiting for a signal from me. What he does not know is that Daniel's standing right there filming him, but in general, he's dropping a hint, and in a flash, Daniel races to Tamara to snap her out of the fantasy she's living in, telling her, "We've known each other a long time, and you know how much I worry about you. Zavi does not love you." Then he shows her the video. The instant she notices it, she's crushed. It strikes her that she never even got the chance to be thrilled before taking a blow like this, and she cautions him, "I don't need anyone defending me." That night, Zavi keeps sending her messages, and she won't answer until she's jolted awake by a message from the unknown eye, telling her, "If you're ready to know who I am, I'm downstairs. Come down." So, she rushes down and peers through the peephole in their front door, and she finds a young man standing off in the distance. She's horrified for a few moments, but then she decides to fling the door open all at once, only to find absolutely nobody there. Yet we see him send her. What happened? You thought it'd be that easy? Then here it's confirmed for her. He's all around her, watching her every single step. About a week goes by, and eventually Zavi manages to stop Tamara at school to make her understand the whole misunderstanding. He hints to her that he's changing because of her, that maybe the video she saw truly was his intention at first, but now he's grown fearful of losing her. Then before this, we find him sitting with the psychologist telling her about Tamara, saying, "There's this girl so much like me. I feel like I love her. Maybe the thing that sets her apart from me is that she's clean, not like me." And when the psychologist presses him harder with her questions, he tells her the reason for the void inside him and why he'd set out to hurt Tamara in the first place, just for being a girl minding her own business. He tells her, "My father was my role model this whole time, but I started to hate him little by little. At first, it was because of all his fights with my mother. I thought he was cheating on her, so I decided to go and watch him. And I found him coming out of a hotel with a very young girl." He goes on, "At the time, he was enraged and distressed, but when he dug deeper, he discovered his father wasn't cheating at all. He was a predator, preying on underage girls. He even found photos of this girl, and once he'd win each girl's trust, he'd start blackmailing her into satisfying his desires. And from then on, Zavi came to believe he had to make girls attach themselves to him to shield them from his father's evil. Or so he tells himself. At that, the psychologist points out to him that he isn't mentally ill or anything of the sort. What he's doing is normal for his age because the instant he learned to love someone and fear for her, he managed to break free of the twisted belief his father had trapped him in. But no matter how much he apologizes to Tamara, she won't forgive him until she goes home and sends him. So, what are we doing about the project? And at that, he's overjoyed. They keep chatting all the time about everything except the project, and everything's going beautifully. Until Samantha senses that Xavi's truly slipped out of her life, and she decides to make Tamara's life a living hell so she'll vanish from his world entirely. She acts on it immediately. There in the bathroom, she tells her, "Oh, I'm always talking about you. I was just saying that poor people like you, the marginalized ones, nobody feels a thing for them until they die. Then everybody abruptly regrets them and regrets how they treated them." And from this moment, it becomes clear just how strong Tamara truly is because she fires right back. "Oh, please. Are you dozing off in some horror flick or an action movie now?" But Samantha keeps going, saying, "Why do you keep turning your back on me? Look at me. It's a shame, truly. Soon enough, I'll make you disappear." And she leaves her and walks out. At that, Tamara stands in front of the mirror intensely distressed and mutters, "Woe to me and my enemies." And at once, we find her standing there waiting, stuck in trouble over what she did to Samantha. Just then, Xavi happens to pass by and asks her what she's up to. She tells him, "Nothing. I'm serving detention." Actually, she'd poured nail polish all over Samantha's hair, and he's totally delighted with her. He asks her, "When did all this boldness happen?" And she answers, "A girl either lives her life or she lives to make up for never having lived it." So, he's thrilled with her, and he leaves her standing there awaiting her punishment. And he thinks to himself, well, maybe I shouldn't hold anything back either. While he's out on the field, he closes in on Daniel and strikes him for what he did to him. Then off he goes to be punished right beside Tamara in the detention room, but he won't tell her what he did. He'd truly done it just to blow off steam and also to keep sitting there with her. He offers her, "What do you say I drive you home?" And she agrees, of course. And the instant they head out, P's already beaten them there, filming the two of them together. Then all of this, Samantha still has no clue. She'd gone live with him, all innocent, while he injects her with Botox. She finds the viewers asking him whether he's involved with Tamara. So she asks him, "Oh, that weirdo girl. What precisely is going on? Are you good?" And at that, he shuts her down harsh, all but telling her, "I'm running myself ragged. I don't sleep." He starts throwing it at her that she's a killjoy and jealous and that he's got no time. He takes her to task, claiming she's paranoid, and he's about to tell her they should break up, but she threatens him. "Did you forget I know everything about their father? Want it all exposed or what?" And she leaves him and heads away. But she does not shake that idea of revenge from her head. It only grows bigger. The following day, P tosses a small, low-key party at his place. And it's not truly a party in the literal sense. It's a ridiculous little act. He's arranged with Samantha for her to show up. Of course, the instant Xavi notices her, he asks him, "What's going on? Didn't I say no?" But P plays it off, saying they're just friends. No big deal. It's not like he invited her as a girlfriend. And they ask him to go grab a drink. And in that window, they're firing off messages to Tamara, pretending to be Xavi. "I miss you. I can't live without you and all that. Come on, come to the party right now." And she's barely starting to arrive when she finds messages from him describing directions to the room he's in. But when she walks in, she uncovers the real shock. She notices the thing she never in a million years expected. Videos of her with Xavi laying bare just how deliberate he'd been, step by step in getting close to her. And Samantha appears before her with those slow steps, speaking to her with pure spite, assuring her, "Don't you dare think Xavi could ever consider a girl like you. Everything was calculated, planned from the very start. The project he wanted, it's you." And she goes on, "We just wanted to see where your limit was. And abruptly, P appears from behind her and drugs her and puts her in a coffin until Zavi comes along, and he's uneasy because Tamara isn't answering him. And they won't give him so much as a hint. And while they're all dancing and going wild with the music cranked way up, Tamara comes to inside the coffin and attempts to cry out to anyone to free her from what she's trapped in. But her voice does not carry very obviously. Still, Zavi hears it and he asks them, "What's that? What's going on?" And he springs from his spot fast. And when he opens the coffin, Tamara has already lost consciousness. And in the thick of his panic over her as he's shaking her to bring her around, she wakes up horrified. Then, from the sheer shock, she can't get control of herself. She keeps screaming as if she's plunged into a state of severe panic. Samantha is so unnerved by the sight of her that she strikes her on the head with a glass. And in a second, Tamara drops to the floor, bleeding, and Zavi keeps screaming at Samantha, trying to bring Tamara back. He's still about to rush her to the hospital to get her treated when Samantha stops him. "No," she tells him, "you can't do that. You've got her blood all over your hands. If anything happens to her, you're the one they'll haul in." And P checks for a pulse only to find it stopped entirely. So Zavi decides to call the police, but they get it through to his head that he's the only suspect here. They remind him the messages were all sent from his phone and the security cameras are cut off, meaning he's the one who takes the fall tonight and there's no way out in front of them except this. Wrap her in a sheet, drive her somewhere no one will ever find, and leave her there. Then Zavi actually does it, his heart splintering in his chest, unable to believe he'll never see her again. But Samantha keeps drilling it into him that he's the one who will take the fall. So, there's no point to this stubbornness of his. None at all. So, he's forced to pull her from the trunk of the car, motionless, thinking to himself that the one thing sent to him to change him is gone now. Just like that, right before his eyes, and he can't even get her justice. And from here, the simmering grief sets in. The following day, every one of them sits in class, lost in a fog. Zavi, most of all, his face utterly hollow. And when the teacher asks him, "So, what did you end up doing on your project with Tamara?" he does not answer. He does not even know what he could possibly say. He drifts through school like a wreck, haunted by flashes of the last time he saw her when he held her in his arms. Motionless. Days pass. He races into her mother by chance, the woman crumbling right there at the school, begging them, "If you find out anything, please let me know." And he replays every single moment with her until his feet carry him to the bathroom. He splashes water on his face, hoping to snap out of it. But water does not wash away a guilty conscience. Every day that goes by is worse than the last, the color draining further and further from his face until the teacher comes to tell them Tamara has met with a tragic accident. And when Samantha asks him, "Is she dead?" he can't bring himself to say a thing, only confirming that the prosecution's ruled no information can leave these walls. Unfortunately, at that, Zavi bolts from the classroom, running, drowning in guilt. They race after him, and Samantha reminds him, "By the way, you're the prime suspect in any investigation that comes. And if you talk, if you go off from what we agreed, you're the one who goes down, not us." And before Zavi can even think what to do, he finds them forcing him into a blood pact, all of them together. Each one takes their hand and cuts it with something sharp, a deep gash, and they clasp one another's hands as the blood races. Then, the chilling part, there's a camera in that very room filming them. And that camera, the one that caught them, it's very likely the thing that will avenge Tamara. On the following day at school, they're all astonished. Photos of Tamara everywhere, plastered with all kinds of messages of regret. Things like, "Wherever you are now, Tamara, we hope you're at peace." They've even set up a sort of temporary memorial for her in the auditorium so that if they ever learn anything, whether her life has ended or not, they'll have given her her due. And Daniel, he stands there filming every second of it. And right about now, the look in Zavi's eyes gives it away. He knows something and he's hiding it. But Tamara's curse does not stop there. It starts spreading further through the school. An unknown number begins firing random messages to the students' phones, saying, "The one who finished Tamara off is one of you." And while two of the girls are talking it over, convinced someone's just messing with them, Daniel wanders up and asks what's going on about those messages that came through. But before they can start explaining, the bell rings and they're forced to leave him hanging. Daniel doesn't give up. Right after class, he stops Zavi and asks him, "Didn't you get any odd messages? A ton of students got ones about Tamara and I got nothing. Isn't that odd?" But Zavi just fires back, "Me neither. Nothing came to me." And he leaves him standing there and heads away, not even bothering to excuse himself. He finds Tamara's story splashed all over the news after Zavi gets home. So he lunges to switch off the television straight in front of his family, and it worries them, which is why his father follows him into his room and asks him seething, "Since when are you this aggressive? Tell me what's going on with you and what you're hiding from us." In this dispute, it was the bomb buried in Zavi's chest, and it detonated all because of his father's words. He fires back at him in sheer disbelief, saying, "Since when do you even know the first thing about me to tell me since when? I'm the one who knows plenty about you. I know about the underage girls you're blackmailing because you're a predator preying on them." And he makes it clear that the one who wrecked their home and wrecked his own mind is no one but him. At that exact moment, his mother walks in, and it silences the two of them entirely. Then the father, ever fond of making excuses, tells her, "Your son's an addict." He snatches a pill bottle from Zavi's desk and asks her, "How long has he been taking these pills?" But her answer only confirms what Zavi said when she tells him, "These pills, he's been on them for 2 years, prescribed by the doctor who wrote them for him. So off you go now, old man." After that, the old man heads to his office and wipes clean all the photos of the girls his son had uncovered on him. And the shock, we find a notebook filled with information about Tamara. As for Zavi, Tamara's account sends him a message that reads, "Missed you." And come morning, he uncovers every student got messages from her. The teacher walks in on them, warning them that an investigation team is coming to question the last students who were with Tamara. So, at once, Zavi, P, and Samantha huddle together at break to see what they'll cook up. But they take the biggest shock of all when they find the video of them. The one of them dumping her in that deserted area is what got sent to the students. At that, Samantha, sick as she is, reassures them, saying, "Either way, you can't even make anyone out in the video. Then besides, we're all faceless, and Tamara's just some poor girl. No way anyone would ever care whether she exists or not. This is all for show, nothing more." But Zavi buys none of it, warning them they need a lawyer. And fast, the investigation begins, and the detective sits with each of them for some time. First, Zavi, who's more heartbroken than uneasy. Samantha keeps crying all that time, working the sympathy angle. P, though, stays entirely composed, not fearful of a single thing. But they're all agreed on the same story. Then at that, the detective tells Zavi, "One of you is a liar. And mark my words, I'll find out who." Then he stands up and opens the office door for him to leave. And after he actually leaves and returns home, he uncovers his father has walked out on them entirely. His mother tells him he's used to this. Every time something happens, he races off without facing it. That's why I stopped confronting him. At school, they've set up a kind of memorial service for Tamara, seeing as no one has found her body yet or knows a thing about her. Samantha steps up to say her piece, laying out just how much she regrets it, saying, "I used to treat Tamara terribly, and I never felt a thing about it until she vanished. I hope she can hear me so she'll forgive me." And abruptly, the auditorium door swings open, and in walks a girl who turns every head around her. She stops and looks at Samantha with total confidence. And it's Tamara, but with a brand new look, one that makes her utterly unrecognizable. She strides in with total confidence. Then all the students are buzzing about her. Who is she? And why does she look so much like Tamara? And when we go back to the day of the incident, we discover that Tamara wakes up in a total collapse. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't have her phone and she can't remember most of what happened. Yet all she knows is that they all ganged up on her. And in the thick of it, while her mother was falling apart, dressed in black over her daughter, she was astonished to find Tamara walking in on her in a pitiful state. She sat with her and told her everything that had happened from the party message all the way to when she came to. But the events in the middle, she can't remember at all. Her mother laid out the bullying she'd been subjected to and said, "I've been bullied for the longest time. Everyone persecutes me, and I never once told you anything like this." And here we come to the final moment where her secret is revealed to us. The reason she left her old school, a teacher had preyed on her and kept at it relentlessly from the time she was a child. And when she eventually spoke up, his lawyer stood by his side and flipped the entire thing around, painting her as the one who'd repeatedly tried to come on to him. And we come to understand what happened when her mother comforts her, telling her, "None of this is your fault, that you're living in a world full of monsters," and tugs her into an embrace. And at last, Tamara feels strong, and she decides to change entirely. Yet first, she lets the grief take its due in her heart. She stayed lying in bed, refusing to face the world until one day her mother was startled to find that she'd eventually come back to herself. She's standing in front of her mirror, telling her mother, "That's it. Tamara doesn't exist anymore. I'm Violeta." Violeta, the one who will claim Tamara's justice from everyone who hurt her and make them drink from the very same cup. The past never stays buried, as long as the ones behind it are still walking around. Tamara, of course, lets it go in one ear and out the other. She starts prepping herself mentally before she remakes herself into that radical transformation we saw. Her mother walked into the room the following day and found her looking like this and told her, "Well, your outfit's a little short, but honestly, you look gorgeous. Eventually, my girl, you're back to how you used to be." And Tamara moves through the world as Violeta, certain she's turning every head in the place. The instant she catches sight of Zavi walking down the hall, she moves in on him. And well, her books tumble out of her arms and the two of them bump into each other. That move we've all seen in the movies and no one has ever once lived in real life. Anyway, the instant he looks at her face, he's floored. How can she look so much like Tamara? Yet, of course, it's impossible for it to cross his mind that she is Tamara, especially since she inhabits the role so entirely, asking him with total confidence, "What is it, Zavi? Did I scare you? Why are you looking at me like that?" And at that, it shows just how much Zavi loved Tamara because he flashes back to his first glances at her, even the touch of her hand. But what puts Zavi at ease is that the voice is entirely different. Then that's the very thing Tamara kept working on. He places a red rose on Tamara's spot when he heads back to class. But he's caught off guard when the one who comes to sit in her place is Violeta, the girl who turned his head from the very first moment, and she starts doing precisely what he used to do with her. Didn't he paint on the illusion of love at first when he asked the teacher to pair up with her on the graduation project? Well, she asks for the very same thing. And dear Samantha, she was about to burst with rage, thinking, "What? Do I lose a girl every couple of days now? Or what?" And since there's a pretty girl around, well, P shows up on the spot, coming to sit beside her at lunch break, introducing himself, but with total confidence. She asks him, "Who are you?" So he feels seriously humiliated and introduces himself again. "I'm P." So she repeats her question again. "Right. And who is P precisely?" His voice gets all choked up and he tells her, "Zavi and Samantha's friend." So she goes, "Oh, so you're like the pampered lapdog. Why?" And when he attempts to defend himself, this odd one insisting, "No, for your information, I run with the cool crowd in these ideas. I'm the one who makes them." She fires back, "Right? So you're the one behind the scenes, not the one in the picture. You're the one attached to him, not the other way around. Without him, you're a nobody." And her voice is so loud that everyone around them takes notice. And she caps off the humiliation by asking him, "Could you please back off a little because your breath isn't precisely pleasant, honestly." And after a move like that, naturally, she draws even more attention from everyone around her, and all of Samantha's friends come flocking to her to buddy up. She's their new queen now, just like that. Samantha, of course, won't stay quiet. She races after P and attempts to get close to him so he'll be on her side. And this falls right into Tamara's lap. The instant she spots the two of them, she rapidly phones Xavi and asks him to come to the training room at once. So he comes and he notices Samantha, who never says no, in a compromising position with his friend. God forgive us. I mean, what kind of school is this? Does it not have a principal? No, and Samantha's still got the nerve to make excuses. And naturally, Tamara couldn't find a lower, more perfect moment to fish in these murky waters. She races after Xavi and phones out to him, asking, "What is it? What's wrong?" So he answers her plainly, "I don't know who you are or what you want from me, but could you please back off? I'm in love with someone, and I could never forget her." So she assumes he means Samantha, and she leaves him and heads away at once. He carries on his way and finds on the stairs, resting on her car, that morning's red rose. Then this whole approach of hers only deepens his confusion. Who could she be? And why does he feel like he knows her so well? And at the very same time, he feels like he's cheating on Tamara. Oh, buddy, you finished her off. You're the one cheating, but don't you dare say that. As for Tamara, she's back home torn, unable to understand why she can't bring herself to make a single move against him or hurt him the way he hurt her. Then she flashes back to all sorts of moments she lived through with him, whether it was her love for him or the time he took part in finishing her off along with them. The following day, we find the detective sitting with her mother after she'd confided in him that her daughter is alive now, living under a whole new identity named Violeta. And that's when he delivers shocking news on her. He's discovered that Xavi's father is the very lawyer who defended the other side in her daughter's case, the one that dragged Tamara through public disgrace. Then not only that, he'd bribed the judge to throw in with him. And with this, we eventually understand why there were papers about Tamara sitting in Xavi's father's office. At that, Tamara comes home astonished by what the detective lays out for her. And it dawns on her that Xavi must have known something like this all along. She starts walking him through the last details she can remember from the night of the incident, but she crumbles as she recounts it. The detective is gentle with her. He explains that forgetting the most crucial event of that night is something the brain does, a way of trying to deny what happened. And you can see it plainly, how shaken he is, because this girl stared death in the face and lived it moment by moment. But here's the odd part. Tamara wasn't the one sending those messages to her schoolmates at all, because when she came to, she didn't even have her phone on her, which means someone took it, which means there's a third party in this whole thing. Tamara looks over at her mother, cut deep by the thought that Xavi knew about his father's treachery against her after he leaves. Then even so, he went ahead and finished her off right alongside the rest. Come morning, she heads to school like nothing ever happened. Sits with Xavi, and the two of them start easing into conversation as if they're meeting each other for the very first time. But right then, a message lands on his phone from Tamara's account. So, he drops everything and attempts ringing her number. He follows the sound, sensing it's coming from the dark room, and he bursts straight in. And the shock, the last person he'd ever have imagined, Daniel. He snatches him fast and demands, "What's Tamara's phone doing with you?" But Daniel's sincerely thrown. What does Tamara's phone have to do with anything he's up to? He tells him to go ahead, search, look for it. So Xavi does precisely that, only to be caught off guard when he turns up nothing at all. Even his bag holds nothing but textbooks and a novel titled The Eye. We find Tamara in their midst as Violeta asking the teacher, "If you'll allow me, there's an announcement I'd like to make when the two of them head back to class. A little act of charity." He lets her, of course. So she rises with total confidence and declares in front of every student, "The reality is that Samantha is one of the most upstanding people around. Despite everything her family's going through, she's held on to her dignity and never once stretched out her hand to anyone. But we're all friends here, and we've got to look out for one another." And she hands her an envelope saying, "Here you go, Samantha. We're practically sisters. and God willing, your family's debts will be settled very soon." And just like that, Samantha becomes the laughingstock of the entire class. She'd played the part so hard, the prettiest, richest girl and all that. Then now, some new girl waltzes in and exposes her in front of everyone. So naturally, she won't take it lying down. She storms out after her and stops her in front of the entire school, demanding, "How could you do this? Butting into my life like that?" But cool as ice, Tamara tells her, "What's the matter, Samantha? Is this my reward for helping you out?" Samantha snaps and lunges at her, and that's when Zavi steps in to defend her. So Samantha vows to him that she'll make him pay and pay dearly. Looks like Tamara's story is repeating itself all over again in his life. She heads away, leaving him so shaken that he goes and sits with Tamara, who is Violeta, in the library, as if he needs her of all people to be the one who reassures him. He asks her, "Weren't you concerned by what Samantha said?" And in this moment, she wants nothing more than to draw him into talking to pry out of him who Tamara truly was, or more precisely, what precisely happened to her. But the conversation sweeps them both up. He tells her he had no choice but to stay with Samantha because she knows things about his father that no one can ever be allowed to know. And as he speaks, she picks up on just how broken his bond with his father is when he acknowledges there's nothing between me and him anymore. But his reputation matters to me, only for my mother's sake and my own, nothing more. He feels lighter for saying it, and he asks her, "How did I never know you before? Certainly we've spoken at some point." But before he can soften, before things can turn tender, the detective arrives asking to speak with him. And he confronts him with videos. Videos proving there was something between him and Tamara, something more than just a graduation project. He asks him, "What was going on between the two of you? Were you out for revenge on your father's behalf? The very man who destroyed her to begin with?" And before Zavi can even get a word out, a call comes through. They found Tamara's phone. Elsewhere, Tamara gets those same old threatening messages from the very same account all over again. But this time, it addresses her as Violeta, meaning whoever's behind it knows precisely who she is and precisely what she's up to. She's about to fire back a reply when Zavi comes and cuts in, telling her they found Tamara's phone. But the odd part is, it's entirely empty. So, she gets the sense that this whole thing still has a long way to run, that no one's going to uncover her right now. And she decides to keep pushing ahead with her plan. She sends P a message that Samantha's father is drowning in debt and has sold off everything he owns after she leaves. So, on the following day, he marches straight up to Samantha to ask whether it's true. And she's enraged with him. She demands to know how he could even let this Violeta girl talk to him in the first place when she's supposed to be her enemy. And it dawns on her that Violeta is going to pull out from under her every last person who admires her. So, she goes to confront her, meaning to threaten her, but she's astonished. Every single one of the people who used to be her friends is now clustered around Violeta. She's the queen now, the winning hand. So Samantha understands there's no point to any of this, and she backs off again. Then the spite in her heart only swells further when she catches Violeta heading off with Zavi in his car. So off she goes to the detective, putting on her meekest, most innocent face, telling him there's a risky secret Zavi's been hiding, and she wanted him to know. As for Tamara, she's gone home with Zavi. And while he's downstairs collecting the food from the delivery, she manages to slip into his father's office and tuck the sheet they'd wrapped her in right into the drawer as crucial proof for the case. Yet the instant she's done, as she's scrambling to cover her tracks, papers spill from the desk. And among them is a letter. One Zavi had written to Tamara back when she was still in his life, about how much he truly loves her, how he can't stop thinking about her, how everything that happened was beyond his control. So much so that he'd even thought about ending his own life just to be with her. He was only waiting to learn whether she was alive or not. At that, it strikes her that she moved too fast, that she has to save him and rapidly. Yet she doesn't get the chance because he walks in on her. And after she gets home, she finds the detective waiting for her, and he tells her Samantha came in and gave her testimony, one that pins everything on Zavi alone, claiming he killed you. And because Tamara knows for a fact that's not what happened, she decides to save Zavi. But only after she confirms things first, since the events are still a blur to her. So, she goes to sweet-talk P on the pretext that he'll help her carry the boxes. And the instant they're alone, she works to get close to him. And in the end, she heads off with the phone after she's gotten him to record a full confession to everything they did to Tamara that night. But Zavi spots the two of them walking off, one behind the other, and he senses there's something between them, and it eats at him. And Tamara has no clue how to handle it. How does she explain to Zavi what he just saw without blowing her cover? And how does she shake Daniel, who deliberately plants himself beside her on the school steps and informs her, "I've known your Tamara since the very first day you set foot in this school. All these little schemes of yours, they're going to fail, by the way, no matter what you do." So, she leaves him and heads away without offering a single word of explanation because the only thing that matters to her right now is Zavi, and he's seething. He gets it through to her that P attempts to steal anything he wants precisely like he did with Tamara. So she asks him what precisely happened, and at that he tells her everything, and she sincerely starts piecing the events together, matching them up with precisely what P had told her too. She's on the verge of confessing to him that she's Tamara when a call comes through. The police are at his house, so she races over there with him and she tells him what she did, the whole business with the sheet. But strangely, the police turn up totally nothing in the office. And then, without any warning, they find the sheet somewhere else entirely. So she's baffled, wondering aloud who put it here. Then in this very moment, at last, the wretched old father, the root of all of this from the very beginning, steps forward and acknowledges, "I'm the one who moved it." Then he counsels his son, "From here on out, don't answer a single question they throw at you because you've got a lawyer." So Tamara attempts to find her phone, the one she recorded P's confession on, and it's gone. She rushes home only to be astonished. It's sitting right there on her bed, even though she never went home at all. She hunts for the recording, and it's nowhere to be found, even though she's certain she captured it. And in the thick of the terror and collapse washing over her, a message lands from the unknown account, warning her, "You truly shouldn't have done that, by the way." And then it hands the recording right back to her. Then, just like that, we find the police already listening to P's confession. And Tamara, on the other end, gets a message. That's it. Your graduation day has arrived and the ending has begun. So, you'll eventually find out who's been sending you all of this from the very start. But brace yourself. It cautions her for the surprise. And sure enough, graduation day arrives, and Samantha's standing there handing out water like some sort of charity drive. Yet Tamara declines to take one from her. Zavi, naive as a child, is the one who takes the bottle. And of course, no innocent kid would ever guess it's been spiked. So, he drinks from it. He barely gets a chance to talk to Tamara. Just manages to ask her what's the name of that account that's been harassing you. And the shock when he learns that it's the Eye, the very same name as the book he found in Daniel's bag. But he doesn't get the chance to tell her anything because his head starts spinning and he's forced to hurry off to the bathroom. Then there he's snatched. He wakes to find himself bound with Daniel standing before him filming. And Daniel starts confronting him with everything, telling him, "I knew Tamara before you did. And despite your bullying, despite your whole plan to hurt her, I still loved you. Even when you tried to finish her off, I forgave you anyway." And Zavi can't make sense of it. Forgave him? How? He has no clue that Tamara is Violetta. Then we discover that Daniel was the one filming them when they dumped her in that deserted area. As for Tamara, she's eventually reached her breaking point, sick with worry over Zavi, and she rushes off to look for him. She finds Samantha standing there, and she blindsides her with everything, telling her, "Look me in the eyes, Samantha. Get a good look at who I am." And the instant she speaks to her in her own natural voice, Samantha understands it's Tamara, and she's seized with panic. She's about to try to explain it all away, that it was just a prank, a joke, when a loud crash rings out from further off. So Samantha flees fast. Tamara, on the other hand, decides to go see what it is. She walks in, gripping her phone, going live after she's already alerted the police that someone's holding Zavi. What she didn't know is that this someone is Daniel. And the instant he notices her, he heaps the blame on her for never being able to love him back, even though he was the one who valued her the most, the one who truly understood her. And in one reckless motion, he snatches the scissors and drives them into her leg to deliberately wound her badly. And when Zavi attempts to defend her, he takes a hammer blow to the head and he drops out harsh. But at last, the police arrive. Daniel and Samantha are arrested, and P2 once the whole truth comes to light. Even Zavi's father is taken in after they uncover the secret operation he'd been running. And Zavi ends up in the hospital, where he eventually learns that the girl standing before him is Tamara, the one he loved. She tells him, "Sadly, your face won't ever go back to the way it was before, but maybe that's for the better, so I can learn to accept you after everything you did to me."